Hello, happy Saturday and welcome to my kitchen. It's Philly here. Today I am making one of my favorite things, which are cake truffles. You might know them as cake pops. So we're making red velvet ones today. And then the other thing I'm going to be making is salted caramel ice cream, a no churn ice cream. The hack to make your box mixes, which everything is all pre-measured. I mean, how nice is that? But to make it taste more homemade is to replace the water with milk and the oil with butter. So same measurements, and that's what we're gonna do today. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dump this cake mix into my bowl. I'm just gonna use a hand mixer today. A lot of you know I get the big guns out for some of these recipes, but this is such a simple mix that I'm just gonna use a hand mixer. It'll be just fine. Let me get some scissors. So when I think about Valentine's Day, there are so many treats that we could be fixing, but you can't help but think about the color, and that is red. So to me, red velvet brings that color front and center, and I personally love red velvet. One of the things I love about it is the contrast of the rich chocolatey cake with the cream cheese frosting. And I think that's one of the things that, because as much as I like sweets, I also don't like things too sweet. So now you're just gonna follow the directions on your box. And for my box, what it is calling for is 1 cup of water, which we're gonna substitute with milk, 3 eggs, and a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, which we're gonna substitute with butter. So I'm gonna get my butter melted because we do want that to be melted. So I'm gonna put it in the microwave. And that would be a stick of butter. 1 stick of butter equals 1 cup of melted butter, or I'm sorry, a 1/2 cup of melted butter. Sorry for that. So and what I do, butter tends to spatter in the microwave, so I always just like putting this on top to help prevent. All right, so let that go, and I want to check on that because again, it can really spurt and sputter sometimes. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're just about there. So I'm going to take that out. That was just about 1 minute and 10 seconds with my microwave. So I've got my butter, and I'm going to grab my eggs while I'm chatting. So in any event, I ordered them, I think I might have ordered them for my own birthday, you know, because sometimes we just got to do that. And I ordered them, and they were phenomenal. My husband and I, by the way, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to crack the eggs and get them into our dry mix. Just grab a little bowl. And they were delicious. And so ever since then, we were ordering them. And then what I started noticing was there were bakeries around us that started offering them. So then I was buying locally because I love to support, you know, the local businesses. But I gotta tell you, that company that started it all for me, I think they're up in Connecticut, they're delightful. And she, oh my goodness, she has such the most creative, the way she decorates her cake truffles. So again, I will later list it down below, and if you're watching this as a video, you can check, and I'm sure it'll be listed down below. So I've got my 3 eggs here. I'm gonna get my milk out so I can get that poured as soon as I dump my butter in. Let's see here. Sorry about that. Grab my milk. So I'm gonna pour my butter, and 1/2 cup of melted butter. Pour that in. And then it'll be, I believe it was 1 cup of water, so it'll be 1 cup of milk. Sorry for the noise. So now you can find them anywhere, and then people started figuring out how they could make them, which is always a wonderful thing. And really, at the end of the day, you're mixing a cake that has been made after, and you crumble it, and you're mixing it with frosting to make the truffle part. And then today, I'm actually going to be using a technique that I saw on the Today Show this week. You know, as a foodie, like, you're always thinking, you're always looking. I knew I wanted to make these, but I liked the technique. Let me first see how long it suggests these go. By the way, I have my oven preheated to 350. I'm going to use my convection oven, so I have it 25 degrees less, so 325, and I have that all ready to go. Medium speed for 2 minutes. So let me get that going. This is a newer, so this is a newer hand mixer. I had this one for years. There we go. Nope. Oh, sweetie. There we go. Nope. There we go. My goodness gracious. I had this old, like, I don't know if it was Hamilton Beach or something for the longest time, and it just kaputted. Hubs is complaining. He says it's too loud. So I'm not gonna lie, I've only used this a couple times because I often use my bigger one. Kind of disappointed. They were really having trouble. I got it on Amazon on sale, you know, during one of those Prime Day things, and I just don't feel like they're staying in. So yeah, don't recommend this one. So if you want to know which one I'm using, don't use it. It's a Russell Hobbs. I don't know why it's not working. I switched them. I want to taste. Oh, that's so good. It's my favorite time when if my mom was making a cake, you always stood close because you got the beater or the bowl. Now, being the youngest, I found that my sister usually got the bowl and I got the beater. And I don't know if any of you have ever thought too much about the beaters versus the bowl and who got the most dough. I always think the bowl got the most dough. In fact, I think mom was sweet and would just leave a little extra in the bowl so that you didn't get, you know, the raw end of the stick. Anyways, long story short, I felt like when I'd get the beaters, I got the short end of the stick. So here we go. Look at this beautiful.
It's because she liked your sister better.
Because she liked my sister better. There you go. This beautiful batter. So now we're going to put the beautiful batter in a rectangular. This one is a 9 by 12. They do recommend, because we're going to be taking this out and cooling it really quick, they recommend lining it so you can get this out more quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to line it this way. One sec. Sometimes you can get these pre-cut ones. They were on sale and I got them. It's nice. It really makes for an easier job of using parchment paper for a lot of your shapes. I'm just going to cut that. And then I'm going to use some nonstick spray to kind of make sure it sticks in there well. So let me get my nonstick spray. And we're going to get this popped in the oven. This is going to cook for, I don't know, about 20 minutes. I'm going to keep my eye on it. Now I won't need to use spray over top of this because it's parchment, which is non-stick, but this spray will actually help it just stay in the pan. And of course, all this will help us get it out of the pan to cool. This will help us do that in a much easier fashion. Just over a little more. Sorry for all the noise. There we go, perfect. So you can see, I've lined it all. It doesn't have to be end to end. What I want is that most of that middle section covered so that it'll be easier getting this out. You will be much happier. And you know, at the end of the day, this isn't gonna be looking perfect because we're gonna be crumbling it, but still you just wanna have an easier time. So now I'm just gonna put our beautiful dough in here and spread it evenly. Let's see. All right. So Paul, I was wondering, do they celebrate Valentine's Day in South Africa? You're in another country, and I was wondering how that's looked at in other countries. You know, I don't know if some things are just what we do here in the States or if they bleed into other places. So I was curious about that and how big or small or non-existent it is where you live. Here, what I think I get the biggest kick out of, and I say that sarcastically, is all the commercials about how you need to celebrate Valentine's Day. And for me, and the way we've celebrated it, is we actually try to stay pretty simple. It's really just about, you know, acknowledging your loved, for me, it's really about acknowledging your loved ones, which sometimes we do take for granted, right? And maybe getting them something a little sweet. Maybe there's flowers involved, but it's not super complicated. And I laugh when I see some of those commercials, like the jewelry commercials. I'm like, who's getting diamonds on Valentine's Day? I'm not getting diamonds on Valentine's Day. And in fact, we've all just had the holidays, so I really don't want diamonds on Valentine's Day. I don't know. I know they're just trying to sell stuff, but it just kind of cracks me up. All right, so I just put it in, smoothed it in, and I'm gonna pop it in the oven. While our cake is baking, I'm gonna talk a little bit about what we're gonna do next, and then we'll dive, thank you, babe, and then we will dive into our salted caramel no churn ice cream. So I came upon this recipe, I don't know if it was this summer, I can't remember exactly when, but it is from a from a blog called A Farm Girls Dabbles, and it's down in the link below. I mention the creator's name, and I have the link to the recipe that I originally used. And when I tried this, I found it was such an easy way to make ice cream, and I loved that idea. I thought it was an excellent idea. So that's what we're going to be making today. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we need to make a salted caramel sauce. So I'm going to actually so I don't forget, I want to get this on there, my wireless camera. So it's going to, I was really intimidated. I had not made a caramel sauce up till that point, and that was the part that made me the most nervous. Now, you can do a couple things. You can decide, maybe you don't like caramel. I know our boys don't like caramel. So you could always do a fudge sauce instead. Or you could, maybe you don't like salted caramel. You could just not add the salt part. But I'm gonna make a caramel sauce on the stove, and that's something we're gonna be adding to our no churn ice cream and putting in the freezer to firm up. So to make our caramel sauce, we are gonna need 1 cup granulated sugar, a 1/4 cup of water, 3/4 cup heavy cream, and 2 tablespoons unsalted butter, and a 1/4 teaspoon sea salt. So I'm gonna get that going. And I'm just gonna warm it. Oh, perfect. I had been using this for other things, and it had that, so I had this for the rest of our ice cream. All right, so I'm just gonna warm it for 15 seconds as it asked. I'm gonna stay close so I can get that out. Again, just taking the chill off the cream. So as I mentioned, the camera got working. My sweet son, who's a techie, worked on it the other weekend for quite some time for us, which was awesome, and he could not figure out what the issue was. Then the laughable thing is, and I started working on it like I'm gonna figure it out, right? Oh, I need a cup of granulated sugar. Let me get my cup measure. And in any event, I ended up just thinking, well, maybe I can do a different solution. Maybe I can just like hook it in through the USB. But imagine this having like the cord and me tripping. There was just gonna be some issues. But nevertheless, I just put it in to see if that even connected, and it did. And then when I disconnected that, it still worked, even disconnected. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but at the end of the day, my camera works, so I'm super excited. Okay, so I'm gonna get 1 cup of sugar, put that in my little pan here. So the one thing I would say if you're making a caramel sauce is you want to get your lightest color pan, because what's going to be important making a caramel sauce is looking at that color and seeing when it deepens, because you don't want it to burn, but you do want it to develop flavor. So most of my pans are kind of dark, so I would really prefer that to be a bigger pan, but it's my lightest pan it has, because it's just like a stainless steel inside. So this is what I made with it last time, and it worked. So you just have to be a little bit careful, because when you pour the cream in, it'll kind of bubble up a little bit. So that's just something to keep in mind. So I'm gonna put this away. And then our first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna put my water in, which is gonna call for 1 cup of, 1/4 cup of water. So let me get that in. And we're gonna get dissolved on some medium heat. Okay. So I'm gonna get this on. I'm gonna stir it here and finish talking first. So I've put the 1/4 cup of water into my 1 cup of water. I'm going to be dissolving it over heat, and then I want this to get at a rapid simmer for about 5 to 6 minutes. And once you're doing, I'm just reminding myself because I haven't made this since the summer. So once, so we're stirring until the sugar's dissolved. And then once we start cooking it, we are going to stop, not going to be stirring at all. You're just going to be swirling a little bit. And then the color is going to change from clear to deep amber. And that's when you want to take it off the heat. So as soon as it reaches that deep amber color, you want to remove it from the heat, and then we're going to drizzle in slowly the warm cream. And I'll do that over here because it can splatter, which is why you want to be careful. So, and then at the end, we add the butter and salt and we stir. So first, let's get this going. So I'm going to show it over here so you can see. Yeah, okay. So right now we're just going to stir until it's dissolved. See that? Oh my goodness. Okay, it has dissolved. Do you see that, friends? It is dissolved. There's some foaminess at the top, but it is dissolved. So I'm going to stop stirring now. We have it kind of at a slow simmer, and it's going to take a little bit for it to start developing color, but I don't want to walk away from it because this is an important step. So you can see we're just watching it. It's kind of like watching a pot boiling, but it's already boiling. So we're just looking for hints of color. So that's why I made sure I turned my light on because I want to get a sense. And then every once in a while I can kind of swirl. I can swirl my pan around. Just a second. I'm going to check my cake. I just realized I did not set my timer. That was cute. Right here. Oh, I'm pretty sure it's ready. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's a little over ready. So the good news is we're going to be mixing with a bunch of cream cheese. Okay, and you can turn off the oven. And then what we'll do, okay, I'm going to grab this real quick. Just watch that a second. Just watch it. If it gets darker, let me know. Make things exciting here. There we go. Because I want this to cool quickly in my fridge.
I think it's getting a little darker.
Yeah, not much though. Still, let me know. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job keeping track. All right, so now I'm just going to take this off. I'll let that cool.
Looks pretty.
Yep. Luckily, we're adding a bunch of cream cheese to this because I let this go a little long. And you see, it'll still be good. So that's why we set timers. That's why I should set timers. Got a little bit. It's still good. Now, if you are feeling bored, you can definitely up this, but right now I'm not upping it because it's helping me give me some time. So I'm going to pop this in my fridge because I want it to cool quickly.
Looks good.
How's the sugar look?
Like sugar, like wet sugar.
Okay, thank you.
It's getting dark.
All right, move. Thank you. Color change. This is not as good a camera as my camera that I do, but we are almost there. We are there. We are there. All right. Okay. Oh, it smells so good. Now what we're going to do is we are going to carefully pour this. Now it's going to come up. Slowly pour. Slowly pour.
What are you pouring?
Cream. Slowly pour.
That's hard.
It's not splattering. And I'm going to, there we go. Whoop! I feel like I'm a witch. Chris, that was a really good way to put it.
Sorcerers.
Yes. So, just, Chris, you're going to laugh at when I say this, but I'm wondering something because this is the second stream you've come to, and I'm having an interesting issue with my caramel. So when I made this the last time, it kind of bubbled up, and it became this like beautiful sauce, but it's not coming together, which is really interesting. And I don't know enough about caramel to know. What I'm thinking happened was to get to the color I wanted. The color was perfect, but I'm worried it got past, like, I know it has to be a certain phase, You know what I mean? Like in candy phase, or cooks talk about it. Yeah, I don't think we're making salted caramel ice cream today. I think we're just making ice cream. Oops. Oh my. So let me show you what happened. But Chris, you're not invited to my streams anymore. I'm joking. But what the heck?
So simmer on the stove.
Yeah,
so
look.
The sauce cooks down. Alternatively, you can make a thicker caramel sauce by change the amount of milk or sugar in the recipe.
No. So what happened was, Marissa, has this ever happened to you?
You're supposed to put it back in the simmer.
Put it back on? Okay. All right.
Why don't you go do something else and I'll watch that?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can't ruin it anymore. What do you think?
I think it's getting like, see?
Well, that's what it was. It's actually what we hope it to do is melt it more.
I know.
Okay.
Keep going.
So anyway, so I'm going to start making the ice cream while he's hoping to salvage the salted caramel. So the only other thing we need to do if we're able to salvage that salted caramel is we're going to be melting some butter into it just to make it a little richer, and adding a little bit of salt to get that salty element, which of course you don't need to do. That's just if you'd like to do it. So let me just get my spatulas cleaned out so that I can use them to start my mixture for my ice cream. Let me get this red velvet off of here. So I'm going to need my whisk attachment for making our no churn ice cream. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen this hack. It's been around for quite some time. I finally tried it this summer because it was funny. I don't know what you all that are watching, what the voice that goes on in your head when you're thinking about trying a recipe or not. But I've seen the information about no churn ice cream, which was a great idea because I don't have an ice cream maker and I don't have extra room to be putting, more gadgets. But I love the idea of getting like a really high quality ice cream. So the hack involves mixing whipped heavy cream with sweetened condensed milk. And then it provides this like lovely consistency. Great, it's not health food. This is like for every once in a while. And it was quite delicious. Like it was much better than I expected. And I realized, we were even talking about it, that because it's a much richer ice cream, just like if you were eating a much richer ice cream, you're not going to eat as much because it just really satiates, right? It's really yummy. So I'm less judgy about it. I'm like, it was really damn good. So for our no churn ice cream, let me just get that part. I'm going to need 2 cups cold heavy cream, 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, and some vanilla. With my vanilla paste. And let me get my heavy cream.
Is there a thickener you were supposed to put in here?
No, you don't. It's literally those 2 ingredients. They're what do it.
Put more milk in than
No.
cream?
Nope. It was fully measured out. Oh, this is actually good.
I know.
Look what Hubs did. Wait. Can you all see that? It's all, so I think once we let this cool,
No.
I think it'll be okay.
No. What
No, we want it to cool, sweetie.
I know,
No.
but don't you want to
No, this
keep
is
it
cool.
on and burn some of that off?
No, that I'm not worried about that stuff. So it has some crystallization even when I'm. You are the best.
I know.
Oh, it's the best. Best Valentine's Day. Look, you can cook.
Yeah, right.
See, Chris, it's not witchcraft.
It is witchcraft.
It's patience. Oh, you are the best. Seriously, this is like the best Valentine's Day gift. You're done. And Hub saves the day on the Valentine stream. Oh my goodness. Marissa, spot on. See, how's the song go? A little love from your friends. That is awesome.
I don't know what to do with that.
I'm so happy. Now, if only Marissa, you'd been with me when I was doing cacio e pepe. But I digress. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the butter in right now and the salt. Let me put this back in because we want this super cold. Let me put that back in the fridge a minute. And add my butter. And I think to this, it's just 2 tablespoons. Let me get my little knife. So cream, sugar, more butter. What's not to like, as Ina would say, right? Okay, I got my butter in there, and I'm gonna put a little salt. My butter is unsalted. I always use unsalted butter. Then you can control the salt, but we want some salt here. And it's gonna be a 1/4 teaspoon. Now you could add if you want more flavor, but I found the 1/4 teaspoon to be just perfect. Let's see. There we go. Not witchcraft. Yes. So Marissa, I don't know if you saw, but Hub saved the day. He followed the advice that you said, put it back on the stove, and it came together lovely, like just beautifully. So I'm melting the butter in, just letting it cool, so that it'll be cool enough to add to our ice cream, because we do need to cool down a bit, because it is. In fact, I'm gonna actually transfer it just to encourage more cooling.
DS is there.
Oh, DS, welcome. How are you, my friend? How are you and the wife? I'm gonna just transfer this here because it's quite warm. Warmer than it would have been the normal way, because when I did this before, it was thicker at that point. So we're gonna let that hang out. There we go. All right, we'll let this cool. And I'll get my ice cream. Oh, DS says hello, Andy.
Hello, DS.
He says hello. He's doing some of his work right now, getting some reading done. Okay, so I'm going to open up my sweetened condensed milk. We are done with our special camera, so I can turn that off. There we go. All right. It's odd. Oh. So, sweetened condensed milk, otherwise milky sugar. So this will provide the sweetener, some body to our cream. Oh, there we go. This makes me think of one of my favorite Christmas cookies my mom made. It was this layer cookie where you added like graham cracker crumbs, nuts, chocolate chips, that, and shredded coconut. I'm sure there was more to it, but that was the basic. And then you baked it off in the oven, cut it into squares. That's what I think of with this. All right, so to my bowl, use this one. To my bowl, I'm going to be adding my heavy cream. 2 cups heavy cream. You can see it's a really low-fat Valentine's Day for us here. The good news is about both these things, Hubs and I were talking about this last night, and the reason I chose these two, honestly, is because neither of these need to be eaten all right away. And they're, this is portioned. Ice cream, this held up for us pretty long in the freezer, and it could be used a nice tight-fitting lid. So that worked well for us. And these little cake truffles, you could freeze them, and just take them out as you need them. So we don't do well with having like a bunch of sweets around. I need to find my little thing. There we go. All right. So the first thing we're going to need to do is get this whipped. And then we're going to be adding our sweetened condensed milk or vanilla, and then we'll add later some of the salted caramel. So where'd my little whipping attachment go? Uh-oh. Ah, here it is. There we go. So I'm going to start it. I'll start it with this. This should work. Ah, you think of Tres Leches cake. I've never made that cake, but gosh, that cake is so good, Marissa. Before I became a professional chef, I never knew red velvet was chocolate. I didn't know either until, gosh, I don't know when I finally watched a recipe about it, and I realized that there was the cocoa powder was in there too. I had those stainless clad copper pots, yes, with the Bakelite handles in the house I grew up in, which Chris, these pots, this was my mom's Revereware. I don't know which kind yours were, but these were Revereware, and we used to have to, when we washed them, we used to have to use twinkle to make the copper bright. My mom, I wouldn't say was, is a clean fanatic. And so every time we use those, we need to shine them like pretty. And you can see I've never bought twinkle because they've gotten this beautiful burnished color. Let me see here. And DS says, I love cake truffles. Marissa says, me too. I gave them to my sons in college. Oh, it's a great packable thing. That's the other thing that's great about cake truffles, Marissa. I agree. I would send them to them from that place I set up in Connecticut that I will put down here later. I learned about cake truffles from Christina Tossi. Monofuku's pastry chef. Mine look exactly like that one. Yes. Oh, wonderful. So I'm going to get this started. So I'm just going to get this whipping. So you could obviously do this by hand if you want to. I could have gotten my big guns out, but I wanted to have less cleanup. So I'm just going to get this whipping. This is going to take a few minutes. Let's see how we got. A stiff peak means that it stays up there, which is what that one did. So we are in good shape. All right, so we got stiff peaks. That's what you want. I would give you this, but most of it came off, babe. And it's not sweetened yet, so it's not as good as with a little sweetener. All right, so here we go. Let me get a new spatula. Okay, so you can see. We just whipped up our ice cream until it had stiff peaks, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna be adding some vanilla. And I think it called for, and I have this in the link below, by the way, for 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, or I'm gonna be using my vanilla paste, which is my newest thing that I really like right now. I like this vanilla paste that I got on Amazon. I just feel like it's just got a better flavor. So I added my vanilla paste, and I'm going to be adding all of this sweetened condensed milk. And now here is where we're going to be doing some folding. And this makes me think of what show?
What's that?
What show do I think of with folding?
Schitt's Creek.
Schitt's Creek, right. So one of my favorite scenes in Schitt's Creek was when, I can't think of his name, but him and his mom were making something where they had to fold in egg whites. And he's like, what does that mean? And she's like, you fold it. So I always...
She had no clue what it meant.
She had no clue what it meant. So that's what she just said. So basically with folding, you go in half and you lift up. You go in half and you lift up. The reason we fold is because we don't want to cut down all that air that we just made. So I'm going to add the rest of it.
Yes, congratulations. Your Eagles are flying to Arizona.
I know. We are so excited. We are so excited. In fact, I'm excited for next weekend because I'm making Philly pretzels. I know I made Bavarian pretzels this fall, but that's different than a Philly pretzels. Philly pretzels are doughier. They're a little heavier. They're so good. They're almost like more bagel-y, if that makes any sense.
Denser.
They're denser. All right.
Marissa said I bought 6 boxes of Girl Scout cookies.
What are your favorites, Marissa? What flavors do you like?
He changed them all up. Man.
Oh, yeah? Because he's the one that bought some Thin Mints for us the other week. Okay, you can see I've just folded it in. I don't want to overmix. I see all my flecks from my vanilla paste, which is one of the reasons I like my vanilla paste. And then, let me see here. All right, get my little container that we're going to be putting this in. All right. So this is a great container because it has a tight-fitting lid. Now, as I'm watching this, I'm also thinking, I don't remember. I think I might have halved the recipe when I made it this summer. So I'm going to have to find another little container that I might just save and not make caramely because my sons don't like it. And we'll see them next weekend for the Super Bowl party. Well, may or may not. We're not sure yet, but there we go. Oh, no, this is going to fit just fine. Oh, I think. Let's see. All right. So, yep, this is going to fit beautifully. But you do want something that has a good tight-fitting lid because it'll help your ice cream stay fresh. Oh, yes. This does not suck. Let's just taste it to make sure it doesn't suck. Nope, doesn't suck. All right, Hubs, you get another one.
Oh no. Let's take a little bit. I don't...
Put it on the table when you're done. Oh, let me wash my hands. So it's nice because it gives it just a great amount of sweetener and body. And then what we're going to do is we want to add our drizzle. So I'm going to get yet another one of my favorite utensils, which are these spatulas. And I'm actually going to kind of let this settle. In fact, let me do this on here so it doesn't. And all I'm trying to do is get some of those air bubbles out. Oh, Mario. Hi, Mario. Thank you for joining the stream. And by the way, for those of you just joining us, we are in the ice cream phase right now. I just made no churn ice cream. You can just leave that over there, honey. There's no room. Can you just keep it over there? Yeah, like just on like the counter or something. We made some red velvet cake that we're going to be making into truffles in just a minute. We've made no churn ice cream with heavy cream, condensed milk, some vanilla, and now we're going to be swirling. We get a nice little spatula, a little thing. We're going to be swirling in some of the caramel into our ice cream. So this you do as little or as much as you want to. What I found I like to do was I used about half of it to do some swirling, and then I left the other half to drizzle on top, which I highly recommend. I thought that was a great way to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first drizzle some, and then I'm going to take my spatula and let it dig in and bring it around. Just trying to get some design going. I'm going to take some here. I'm just wanting to get swirls. I do not want this incorporated. I want it to look beautiful. I'm going to do one more. Try to get that down in there. I'll show you. See? There we go. Nice. But I highly recommend having some left to drizzle on top. And then I'm going to add just a little bit more on top to help me make a pretty design. And just swirl. There we go. It's hard to see, but you can kind of see the design there. And then I'm going to take my tight-fitting lid, and this is going in the freezer. Oh, okay. In the freezer. And that's what makes this a great great receptacle to put this in. So this is going in the freezer. So our cake pops. Let me get our cake. A beautiful red cake, and it is properly cooled, just as I was hoping it would be. And let's make these cake pops. So one of the things that I saw in the recipe that I noticed on the morning show was instead of making a cream cheese icing, and this is what I was going to tell you, DS, instead of making a cream cheese icing and mixing it with the cake crumbs that we're going to be creating in a second, they just added milk, cream cheese, and some vanilla extract. And the thing I liked about that was the fact that it would be less sweet. So I really liked that idea. Feel free to mix this with a cream cheese icing. That's also how I've seen it done. But I definitely wanted to try it this way because I do like when I have a treat that is sweet but not overly so. Like the ice cream we made, that is sweet. We've got the sweetened condensed milk. We've got the salted caramel. There's a lot of sugar going on. So I like the idea of this having like richness and not being too overdone. So the first thing we need to do is we need to crumb this up. So I'm gonna get a big old bowl. So, and this is the fun part. So we're just gonna take the cake and break it down, right? I might need a bigger bowl. We'll see about that. I'm gonna need a bigger boat. So I'm just breaking it down like so. See? I'm crumbing it, so to speak.
That's kind of weird.
I know. Let me taste it. Oh, it's gonna be good. All right, so I'm also, the one thing I am wondering here as I'm looking to do this is, boy, this is a lot of crumbs, like more than I was expecting. So I'm a little worried about like if the cake that they made was like smaller. I don't really remember. I wasn't paying attention. No, I know. It's more about portions so that I can make sure I get enough of the like cream cheese that I need. Okay, I'm not going to do all this. I'm just going to do one more chunk, and then I'm going to start mixing the cream cheese in with it. So what they do is she just said to literally mix the cream cheese, milk, and vanilla to the bowl and mix until moist enough to knead into a ball. So I just found that interesting because for me, I would feel more comfortable if I mixed the milk and cream cheese first in a separate bowl and got that combined with, well, I just might do one more, with the vanilla before I added that. So that's what I'm going to do because I'd be more comfortable with it. And right, as chefs, we can make our own decisions because especially if we've cooked a while, I just feel like it would mix more evenly. So I'm going to set these aside in case I feel like I need them. I'm also going to take off my rings because I know it's going to get messy. Let me do that. Take off my rings. All right. We get a smaller bowl. Okay, this is bowl day. Bowls everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, oh, and this is a great way to say, hey, Philadelphia, because Philadelphia cream cheese is one of the most popular, sought-after brands for cream cheese. Now, I will say, if you noticed, I don't know if you did, but I'm going to cut a little bit of fat here because we use plenty of fat in our ice cream, and I'm going to use the 1/3 less fat. I do not use any of the lesser fat cream cheese when I'm cooking, cooking, right? So like my grandma's recipes, when she calls for cream cheese, I use the full fat. But whenever I don't have to cook it, I do use the less fat. I don't find I notice a taste difference, quality difference, and I appreciate any kind of calorie cutting, so I'm gonna take it. So I'm using the 1/3 fat of Philadelphia cream cheese. I softened it because I don't think she mentioned softening it, but that made sense to do because it makes it so much easier to use. And, uh-oh, I need to find yet another spatula. Luckily, that is something that is not in short supply in this kitchen. I love my spatulas. All right, so let me get this all out. Get my milk out. So 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon milk, just enough to thin it. And so you see, DS, what I like about this is, again, I think I'm gonna it's gonna not be as sweet, which I'm super excited about. And I think with a sweet cake, it'll be just fine. Now, the other thing that they showed in this recipe that I'm not going to do is she talked about adding, whoop, I think it was a little too much, so I'm going to dump that because I think that was too much milk. So that probably was about a teaspoon. And she put mini chocolate chips in there, and I was a little torn because, you know, let me just say, I'm never opposed to having chocolate chips in anything, but I didn't know if for me I wanted that texture because the whole idea of cake truffles is simulating, and I'm just going to mix this, by the way, is simulating a chocolate truffle, which is very dense and very smooth. So for me, I don't want to do anything to like kind of make it chunky. So I'm going to not add chocolate chips. You may add chocolate chips to try it out. Again, I'm not opposed to having chocolate chips, but not in my truffle. I want it to be smooth. So you can see I'm just whipping this together. Oh yes, you could have my autograph. It's such a pretty autograph too, Arch. I'm so glad you joined us. I've missed you, bud. So Archie said, yes, on Valentine's Day, the mailman delivers my mail to our trucks. Just had dinner, so full belly and very happy, Chris. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Okay, so this is nice and smooth. And as we were talking, so this is what happens when you meld one recipe with another. I made my cake mix on my own using my hack to make a better box cake mix. So to my box cake mix, I replaced the milk or the water with milk and the oil with butter. Then I baked it off along, cooled it, crumbled it. I was noticing that this is a lot of crumbs, so I wasn't sure if we would need those. I wasn't sure how big her cake was because I wasn't watching. All I was thinking about was the mixture of the cream cheese. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start mixing this together because I know what we want to have is we want to have like a denseness that can hold together, right? And make these balls that we can then coat in white chocolate. So we are just going to have to go with it because that's how cooking is, right? A lot of it is the feel. So now I'm going to get this loveliness in here. And I'm so happy, by the way, that I mixed this together. As a cook, I feel much better about the fact that all the flavors and textures have been evenly put through. That tells a little bit about me. Oh, that was purposeful, by the way, because I wasn't wearing white today. Wasn't going to wear necessarily black today. I'm like, this is a good color to go. All right, so now I'm going to mix this up. Let me see what would work best. I actually want my white spatula. So I don't know if any of you have favorite tools, but I really love this white spatula. Part of it's just the way it fits in my hand, and it makes everything easy to manipulate. So I want to use this. So I used it earlier. I'm just going to get it washed and dried. There we go. So Archie, I didn't know if Amy has any good stories because my story comes from when I was in high school, which I know Amy's in high school. I just think Valentine's Day is an interesting holiday for kids. You know, at our high school, you could buy flowers to have delivered. You could have it anonymous, you know, all sorts. I think my hands are going to have to go in here, by the way. I don't think this is going to be doing anything. I'm going to have to like make meatloaf here, but instead it's going to be red velvet loaf. Okay, I also wish I had gloves. I mean, I always see on some of these videos people wearing gloves all the time. I guess because I've never been in a, professional kitchen, I just never done the glove thing. In fact, you get some of the trolls that come on and start like saying to you, you didn't have gloves on, that's gross. I'm like, I'm cooking for my family, dude. Not cooking for the general public. I don't know. Arch, do you have to wear gloves a lot when you're at the restaurant? It's coming together, actually. I think we just need to be patient. I'm going to use this. Get some of that off. All right. Let me taste it. Yum. Never. See, there you go. Amy. Oh, Archie, you're cute. You're cute. She's not allowed, huh? Yeah, it's hard when they start having, well, by the way, can I just say, I'm very glad I didn't add all my cake because I'm going to start now getting my hands dirty because I think it's going to need some more pushing, like almost like a meatloaf. And I wonder if I'm going to need more. No, I think this will come together. I might need more milk. I think it even says on here that you might need to add more milk if you need. Let me see. It feels a little weird getting busy with the cake here. And if you can read, if there's any things, that would be awesome so I can focus, love.
Okay.
Yeah. Out loud.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get that. So she said, real cookie never, and then the left, and then Archie said no gloves. I said she would sneak the boyfriend through her window.
Oh, absolutely. I wasn't going to go there, but honestly, that's what I was thinking is if you say never, that's when us girls or boys are like, yeah, we'll show you.
And then Chef Archie said, there's a boy on the scene. He's scared of me. I love it.
No, that is a good place to be.
And then he says, windows are locked.
That's a good place to be.
Okay, then Bo said, some chef was using his hand to mix some salad. And then he said, if you don't like me using my hands, we'll never go to eat at a restaurant.
So, sweetie, will you bring your phone over and go get the milk for me, love? Because I need some help. Love.
You got me moving around.
I know. Arch, you missed the save. Hub saved another potential fail, and I am so indebted to him now, which is just how he wants me, right? Yes, please. Okay, so what I want you to do is I would like you, I want you to get one of the big tablespoons.
Okay.
Yep, the big one. Pour some on there and just drizzle it over this. So basically what's happening, let me show you what I got. See, it's kind of coming together, but it is not moist enough. And she does, or you can just stay right over here because I might need more.
What am I doing?
Friends, what is he doing?
I don't know. Oh, okay.
Okay, you're gonna take that spoon. You would want to flip it the other way. There you go. And you're gonna. He was more helpful the last time. And you're gonna pour milk on the spoon, just on the spoon. And just drizzle around. Quickly.
Whoa.
That's good. Okay, and that's it.
That's
Just
it?
stay here. Oh, I might need more.
Yeah, that wasn't very much.
I know.
I don't think that's going to do very much.
Thank you. I don't want to add too much. Okay, another
No
one.
seat, no tie. Outrageous, I know.
Another one. I know.
I was at the gym, and it was
That's what he's saying, at least.
really cold.
Do one more. Okay. And then stick by. All right. No, don't put the lid on. I might need more, babe. You don't follow directions very well. Uh-oh.
What? It's a little bit moister now.
Yeah, but it's...
A little bit more.
I just want to see.
Yeah, a little bit
No,
more.
just a second, love. It's so close. Okay. Just one more right here. Right here. You're so frustrating. Good thing I love you so much. And the save will save you. So, okay. So basically what I'm going to create now, by the way, I did not think it would take so freaking long to do this. I'm just being real. Okay, I'm making these into big meatballs. You'll see why. Okay. Because what I'm trying to do is get this to come together, and then I'm going to make this smaller little ball. Yay! By the way, glad I didn't add the other cake. We did not need that. Okay, so I've got 3 big old meatballs. I'm going to get this out of the way.
Sorry.
And actually, you know what? I'm just dumping, because I'm just going to make them and put them in right in here. Why dirty more? We already have a heck of a lot of dishes dirty. Oh, by the way, I'm not trying to win a sphere contest. In fact, I think, again, Ina Garden would say, you know what, homemade food looks homemade. It does not look like it was made from a machine. So generally, these are kind of ping pong ball size. You could make them smaller, but I'm looking at these to being like an individual serving, not like these little cake pops. Like, because remember, these to me are going to be my cake truffles. So that's the size I'm aiming for. So they're about ping pong size, not exactly, but just roundabouts. Right? Wouldn't you say it was ping pong size? Yeah.
Maybe a little bit bigger.
Maybe about the size. So I'm just putting these right in here because we're going to be dipping these. All right. So friends, our little cake truffles have been formed. And now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to make a white chocolate sauce to dip these in and then decorate. So I'm going to put these actually in the fridge because it'll help them actually, kind of harden up that chocolate quicker. This is not a must-do step, but I do think it is helpful. So I'm going to put these in the fridge while we're making up our white chocolate. So I am just going to melt these in the microwave. That's how I melt my chocolate usually. You could melt it on a double boiler for sure. So I'm going to get these going and check on them. But I do like the red velvet ones and the white chocolate because I think about the iconic red and white with the cream cheese frosting. So to me, I really like it that way. Then you could put some red sprinkles on it before the chocolate hardens. You could drizzle it with some, you could make some of the white chocolate pink and drizzle it with pink on there. Let me see how it's going. gonna give it a little stir. Now, as you know, when you are doing things in the microwave, you don't want, oh, these are really quite nice. You don't want to let it burn. So I was really lucky to kind of go check it out. Needs just a little bit more, but it is almost there.
What is it?
It's almost ready.
Yeah, what is it?
Oh, it's the white chocolate. And then I'm gonna add just a little bit of, you know, a non-flavored oil, just to help it, I think, it be more glossy. Okay, this should be ready. And I'm trying to think how much oil she recommended. A tablespoon. Let's see how many ounces I had though. 1 second, friends. Oh, I did more than that. Okay, so I'm just gonna eyeball it. So I'm gonna use grapeseed oil. That's the best one I would have for that. There you go. Okay. So I'm just mixing it. It'll help it be glossy. And then I'm going to get a plate out, or tray, and put some parchment on it so I can let them cool. There we go. So you can see here, friends, I just have my white chocolate. Perfect. Will you breathe a sprinkler? Art, she's not answering quick enough.
I will be the sprinkler.
So
Not sure what that entails.
after I put one of these down there, just sprinkle some candies on to make it pretty.
You want to trust me to that?
Yeah, I trust you to that. Do we trust him? Should we let him do that? All right. So I'm just going to plop. I'm going to use my forks to kind of get it around. Try to get some of this excess off. I see right away I've got some chips that have not. That's not done yet, so that's a bummer. And I'm just going to plop it, and you sprinkle, babe. I'm going to get this a little bit. You decide. Make it pretty. Make it pretty for me. I'm doing this a little longer.
Those look yummy. Has he washed his hands, Phil? Yes, I just washed my hands.
You know, you heard I asked him.
All right.
Okay. These look like white meatballs. I'm not gonna lie. No perfect little cake truffles from my house. We go for rustic.
They taste good.
Yep.
That's all that matters. Ooh, that one's got a lot of
what?
A lot of gook on it.
Is it gook? Is that your formal term?
Yeah,
So we're just plopping,
goop,
covering, and then trying to get some of the excess off. You can tell this is where my patience wanes, because I should be more uh-oh. Don't do what I did.
What'd you do?
Well, I kind of dropped it back in. I might need another pan. All right, so our remainders, we are going to later just throw in some dark chocolate for good measure. Let me show you how we did. So here are our lovely little cake truffles. Later, I will take a pretty picture once they've completely hardened and add that to my thumbnail with some of the ice cream. But I do feel like we need to try one of them, even though it's not quite hard yet. So I'm going to get a little...
Pick an ugly one.
Well, no, I actually want to pick one that's just going to be a little firmer, like right here, this one. Oh, because it is almost firm. Oh, ew. There. See, it actually lost its bottom. So let me show you. There's our little finished truffle.
Because I had just give me.
And I'm gonna. Ooh, it is firm. So let me show you how that looks. See our pretty little truffle there. All right, let's taste it. Oh.
You do not need a lot of these.
No, that's why I love them. That is really good. And okay, you know when you cook, you're cooking, you're tasting, and everything all starts to get muddled, right? You're almost like, and when I was just tasting the little crumbs from when I was making the big meatballs, I was like, oh, now I kind of wish I would have made it with frosting. This is delightful. It's delicious. The texture.
Or the erotic truffles.
The texture is phenomenal.
Yeah,
like
really is.
they are.
You were worried you cooked it too long. You did not.
They're so good. And
That's really good.
not too sweet, which is why I did not, for these, we didn't do the frosting, we just did cream cheese. To me, it is perfect. And the slightest little shell, delicious.
Yeah, it's really tasty.
And the texture from the sugar, wait. Oh, no, friends. So friends, thank you so much, first of all. Wishing everyone a happy Valentine's Day. Next weekend, it is Super Bowl weekend for the EAGLES Eagles, and I am bringing a Philly recipe to that for next weekend. I'm making Philly and Arch, just hold your horses a second here, hold your hat on, making more pretzels. But these are the Philly style pretzels, which are more dense, more bagely. And so I'm super excited to make them, and then we will be using them for our Super Bowl party. So my next stream will be next weekend, and please follow me on Twitter for Philly Live to get all the latest. And make sure you subscribe, like, and share the videos. Come here. You saved the day. You saved my day. And we all need someone that saves our day, right? So thank you. I appreciate that. And until we eat again, have a great week, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend. Stay warm if you're cold. And enjoy your food. Enjoy your loved ones. Bye, friends.